Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday, and thanks for taking a moment out of your busy day to tune in to our Word for Wednesday, an encouraging thought for the middle of the week. Been thinking today about the passage from Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 24. And it says, "Let us consider how we can spur one another on to love and good works." And thinking about that got me reflecting on last night's soccer game. My Norman played a very exciting soccer game last evening, and in fact it was really just it was a brutal game. If any of you have ever had a son or daughter that played goalie, you know that it's especially excruciating when your child is in the goal, and mine was for a large part of that game. And it was a back and forth game, two very well matched, evenly matched teams, two well coached teams, two very disciplined teams that were playing just lights out. And it was gut wrenching. It was 3-3, and then 3-4, and then 4-4, and then it was never more than a goal or two away, and it was back and forth. And I mean, it was just intense, and the fans were so into it. And all of us parents on the sidelines were just constantly just cheering. It was, you can do it, and mark up and cross it, get it to the center. You got it. Go and cheer and get back. It was just all these constant reminders and phrases, and it was intermittent with cheering and with clapping and with hoots and hollers. It was a really fun experience. But this morning it got me thinking about this passage: spur one another on to love and good works. In a way, that idea of spurring one another on is something that I don't know that we stop to think about very often. And in a weird way, I think what we as parents were doing last night in that soccer game was very much an idea of spurring them on. You see, we really weren't coaching. We weren't giving plays. We weren't telling them what kind of defenses to run. We weren't coaching. We weren't instructing them on what to do. We weren't teaching them. We weren't educating them. We weren't explaining to them the finer points of soccer or how to do the techniques or what the different parts of the game were. We weren't educating them. You see, we weren't giving them coaching. We weren't telling them how to play the game. We weren't instructing them or educating them. We weren't teaching them the inner workings of the game. What we were really doing was we were spurring them on. What we were saying was, you take what you already know, and you go about it with a gusto and an excitement, and you go about it with a passion, and you go about it with an enthusiasm, and I'm here to help you do that. I'm here to provide an encouragement for you to do what you already know how to do. Listen to that. That's important. To do what you already know how to do. My friends, seriously, do I need to sit here and tell you how to love one another, how to love the world, how to love people? Of course not. We know that, and you know that. You are very well familiar with the Bible and with Jesus' example and what God teaches us on the subject, and you know what it means to love one another. Do I really need to sit here and tell you what good works are? Of course not. You know exactly what the good works are that we're supposed to be about. We have so many examples in Scripture and so many lessons that we've taught and so many discussions we've had. So I'm confident that you know what it means to love, and you know what it means to do good works. So I don't have to coach you on that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take these steps. I don't have to educate you on that. Here is what it means to love. Here's what it means to do good works. But what I think we can do for one another is spur one another on. In the same way that we did enthusiastically for those boys that were playing that soccer game last night. That's the kind of thing that I think we can do for one another to make a difference, by spurring each other on in these ways. Let me give you three very quick things this morning that I think would be really helpful for you to remember, and they're lessons that came to me from the soccer field. First of all, how did we spur one another on? We were identifying what they were already doing and praising it. We were identifying what they were already doing and praising it. Can you do that? Can I do that? Can we look around in our church community and find people that are doing good works and call them and say, "I see you. Good job"? Can we look at people around us that are really demonstrating love and pick up a phone and say to them, "Let me tell you, I see this, and I appreciate that"? Let's try that. Second thing I would say to you is remind them of what they already know. Remind them of what they already know. That's a lot of what we see when it comes to the idea of creating a momentum is just simply reminding people of what we already know that we ought to be doing and talking about it collectively. You know, this is something that we ought to all be a part of. We ought to find ways that we can do more good works, and we ought to look for opportunities that we can show love to one another. And let's really try to do that together today. That's a great plan. The last thing I'll say is we spur one another on when we bring to their recollection things that they used to do and maybe are not doing, got away from a little bit. And this could be a really powerful way to spur one another on. When we pick up the phone and say, hey, you remember how you and I used to be a part of that group, and we used to participate in this thing, and we used to write these letters, and we used to make these phone calls, and we used to have these visits. Boy, I miss that, and we need to get back to doing that. There's 3 ways right there that I think we can spur one another on to love and good works. And I hope this morning you'll give some consideration to how we can do that. Because ultimately, that's how we all are supposed to be, a family that together is working together to bring out the best in one another and move forward with kingdom business for King Jesus. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Look forward to seeing you very soon. God bless.